Thank you, everybody. Welcome back.
Happy St. Patrick's Day, by the way.
Yes, absolutely. We've got the Eluktronics MECH-17 GP2 4090 against the MSI GT77 Titan. And I'm pretty sure both of these units right now have been tweaked to the brink, wouldn't you say? Yep. So much so that you might actually get to see some random shutdowns and things like that as we're really pushing both systems to the limits with the undervolting and all those shenanigans. We've got the unlocked BIOS, the advanced BIOS tab unlocked in the MSI. We followed a bunch of guides, tested, tuned, tweaked. Will has spent way too much time with this, and it's one of these things where you get down the rabbit hole, you think you've got it dialed in, we set everything up in here, and boom, systems are shutting down. That's how close we have these things dialed in, right down to changing out memory DIMMs. It's a lot of fun, but I think customers that are looking for just to be the king of the benchmark, you're going to find themselves in the same shoes that we've been put into recently, so it's a lot of fun.
And so, like Bob said, I think it's best to know that this is not what you're going to expect out of the box from either of these systems. There's a user on our Discord channel who has, given us some instructions as to how to, tune this system, and it actually has made some great improvements. But out of the box for the Titan, I'm kind of surprised as to how vanilla it really was.
27,000 Cinebench, pretty common on that one.
Right. Yeah, and for R23, and and it's, I don't know. I guess we'll see how it goes today. But it's funny though, because we did have it connected to the Elgato for the connection, and it lost 6,000 points in the process of it. So we're gonna have to turn the systems around so you guys can see it. Otherwise, it's gonna be a waste of what you could actually see for what these scores can do.
Yep.
And so we have XTU profiles that I've been working on in terms of getting this dialed in for each of them, and what the intention is to do is to show each of them running the same exact profile. So a lot of it is, like Prima said, undervolting. There's a lot more undervolting related than you think it would be for overclocking. It's undervolt, undervolt, undervolt for both systems, and we'll see how this goes today.
And do you have the performance cores and cache and everything is kind of tuned a little bit differently, whereas before you would just move a couple of sliders, but now it's a lot more in depth on these CPUs.
Yeah, what kind of stinks about for the GT77 is, out of the box versus what we want to show you guys. Like, I would love to do an out of the box versus an out of the box, but the amount of settings that it takes once you get into that little service sequence to do those changes, I don't want to have to go through that again otherwise. So we'll just show these doing at their best and then go from there.
Yeah, I don't think we want to tweak the MSI. It's dialed in. If we reset that, we might not get it back.
All right, so should we start it off?
Yeah, sure.
Let me just know if I'm turning the camera or not. Just kind of guide me along. Set up the camera and you guys turn those around.
Yeah, let's turn the camera and we'll each run Cinebench.
Yeah, I'm gonna max the fans out on this, which we're gonna showcase a little bit later.
We pulled in a shotgun mic so that you guys could hear the actual audio differences between these two.
We'll do that later on.
So, oh wait, sorry, Bob. Did you actually run your XTU profile?
Yeah, I'm good. Right. I'm live, man.
I'm gonna set ours up. Okay. You think you'll be able to squeeze both of them in, Evan?
Yeah, I should be able to. Yeah. So.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. And then do you want me to zoom in on?
As long as you can get both screens, that's great.
Alright, should we start them?
Yeah, let's giddy up.
They want to know the RAM stats.
We're running at 4,800 megahertz, and the Titan is a 4,800 megahertz. I think that's for some reason clocking down to 4,000. I think that's just a known issue with this board of the Titan. I don't know what's going on exactly for that, but okay. All right, well, there's an example of it. Right, like we said, we're working on. Oh my gosh, we both did it. We were almost at the end for ours.
Oh wow.
All right, so that's easy. Let's just go into XTU and lower our.
You gonna lower the undervolt a little bit on this one? Okay. So yeah, this was an example of where this actually worked a few times before the stream. It's also not worked a few times before the stream, so we're running these very, very close right now.
Can you still see the screen here, Evan?
Yeah.
Alright, so we're just going to bring this down to 200. Apply it. So, I don't know if you guys can hear me okay, but we're running a negative 215 millivolt undervolt, and obviously that didn't work for either of them. It really did. Both of these worked earlier, and that's what's funny. But again, we're pushing these to the brink of what these systems can do. So let's go ahead. We got both applied.
And is this on air?
No, we're on LPP. We should be.
If it was running or not.
Let me check. I think the LPP is gone. So let's open this. LPP is on. Alright. Light settings. That's what I forgot. LPP. Cool. Alright. So we got this, and now we have sorry if I'm in the way.
No, you're fine.
Alright, so this is at a negative 0.200.
They want to know GP2 is on DC profile or custom?
Custom profile. It has to be on custom profile in order to... Here, I'll show you guys if I'm on screen still, yeah?
Yep, custom profile.
Alright, so yeah, if you go into custom profile, this is where you have your overclocking settings. None of this actually makes a difference for what we're doing, particularly right now, except for the fact that our PL1, PL2, and PL4 are maxed out. The super performance switch is off, and we don't have any. The max fans are on, but for this laptop, and the LPP settings are just set to balanced for the cooling. So let's go ahead and close this out. And we're ready for both?
Mm-hmm.
Good?
Mm-hmm.
Let's go.
It's picking up all the things.
Oh, come on.
Man, come on.
Again, wow.
Alright, so we got a 36,525 on ours, and this one...
You want
we're
to try
gonna-
190?
Yep, let's do it. XTU. And then just a note, I mean, obviously this is an i9 13980HX in the MSI, and ours is an i9 13900HX. And like we had said prior, these are like snowflakes. So every CPU is different. There is someone on our Discord who's able to really bench this system, this GT77 Titan hard, and far beyond what I've seen out there yet.
What do you hit, 37K?
It was over 38, I think.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. All right, so now we're at a negative 0.19.
Yep.
And Cinebench again. And then just to reiterate, these are running on the same exact XTU profile settings. The only difference now is the undervolt on this MSI is not going to be as heavy. So let's give it a shot.
This should work. We've had better luck with 190.
What?
Oh, come on.
All right, let's restart the system and try it at 190 again. I don't know what's going on with that.
Hi everybody, how are we doing? I have my own mic now, isn't that fun? Wow.
Gosh, this thing is loud.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, and the mic picks it up.
Does it really?
Bob asked me today, he said, what is it that you like about the GT77? I said, the one thing that I will admit that I like is the keyboard. It is the same Cherry MX keyboard, but it's quieter than ours.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing that I can say I would compliment this chassis about. I think it is ridiculous that the majority of the ports. I mean, we're talking about an HDMI, the gigabit Ethernet, the mini display port, Thunderbolt. All of that is on the right-hand side, where that makes zero sense for any gaming system, in my opinion. And if you're going to try and push it that way, then it should have been an 18-inch screen, because that way you could, really call it a true desktop replacement, maybe look at it from further away. I think it's a ridiculous setup. All right, so we're profile.
What's the score on the Mech? I'll read it out.
The MECH-17 GP2 is 36,525. All right, so we're gonna go in here. We're gonna apply our values, and then the one difference we're gonna make, we're gonna bring this back down to a 190. Apply that. Those are out. Close out XTU. This bloatware that they put on here is also pretty bad. Cinebench.
Is it 36,525?
Yeah. All right, so we'll give this a second to cool down a little bit more, and then we'll go from there. All right, we good? Come on.
This is enormous.
Yeah. Come on, you got it.
All night long said Flyers.
I'm a Philly fan, sorry.
Yay!
36,714, there you go. All right, so then let's do ours on air. So we're at 36,525, and let's do ours on air. So what I'm gonna do here is I will disconnect the LPP. All right, we're still good on the screen? Yeah. All right, and we'll give ours another shot, and I'll let it, I guess, warm up technically. And we'll give it a go. It's a good run so far. 36,585. Was that the same score?
No, we got 525 last time we said.
Oh, so we got a slightly improved score.
Now, what was your best score on air, like 2 hours ago?
Yeah, earlier I ran it on air, and my face was shocked because it came in at it was higher. It was 37 plus. Where is it? Maybe I didn't actually save it.
I think you did. Back up twice.
Oh, benches. There we go.
There it is.
37,225 on air, running the same exact settings.
Yep.
And it was just like my jaw dropped because Bob's like, "See, I told you." Like sometimes the LPP doesn't actually help. I mean, overall it's great for gaming and for overall just keeping your system levels cool, and just it's great. But I was truly floored by that. It was
and this was at 155. That was 2 hours ago.
yeah.
So Christopher asks, is there any difference between the MECH-16 and 17 besides the Wi-Fi chip and obviously the size?
The thermals on the MECH-17 are better than the MECH-16.
And then All Night Long asks, other notable XTU changes besides the UV?
Notable XTU changes? Yeah, I mean the P cores were, I think, brought down to about 4.9. The E cores were 3.9. It's not pushing this to the brink in terms of overclocking. It's bringing the system over the undervolt down, and there were other settings that we did with that. Yes, and it's taken a lot of fine tuning to get to even where both of these units are today. I've had fun with it. I mean, it is enjoyable. This is all, I would say, more of a learning curve for even for myself, because I haven't gotten into this deep of you know, benchmarking and learning this, but it's been cool.
It's fun. It's a balance, you know. Just you would think just crank up the clocks and the wattage, and that's good, but it's not always how it works now. Like with Time Spy, you may want to pull away some of the memory clock frequency below stock just to get a higher score. It's a weird game, and just when you think you've got it dialed in, and then you show your buddy, and it stops, or the score is different. So it's a weird game. It's hard to get it consistent.
It's a yeah. There's when it's working well, you love it, but when it's not, you're just like so upset. What hair are you pulling out there, bro?
I know, that's why I had to make the joke. Yeah,
Sorry.
that's all right.
All right. So what else should we do? What else would you guys like to see? Just a note, we have tried 5600 megahertz memory in this, and it did improve the Time Spy score. But does that mean it's going to be? I don't know. Even on the 6400 megahertz stuff, it's still in progress, and there's a lot of heat involved, obviously, from. Everyone's using the same, seemingly to use the same SK Hynix die. It's like obviously there's different types of DRAM chips, and this is the very specific chip that's capable of being overclocked. But I've seen mentions of, you know, there's SK Hynix out there at 5600 that's causing freezing issues. I've seen freezing issues on Lenovo Legions with the same exact memory. So it's been interesting. It seems like it almost seemed like it was an NVIDIA update, and then it wasn't, and it's been back and forth.
Yeah.
It's strange.
Yeah.
But
Look at this studio right now. Evan, well done. This looks so nice.
yeah, this is come
look
a
good?
long
Thank
way.
you.
It looks good, Evan.
I try my best. Okay.
And we actually had Farmer. I guess you're not gonna be able to see it, but where Evan is talking from his mic, that was actually really cool because he custom made. I mean, what was he just welding?
you can see the one on this side, this metal.
Yeah, this piece of metal,
Yeah.
kind of in-house fabricated, and just wrapped it around, bolted it to the bottom of the chair.
Yeah.
It's pretty
and now I can sit on a couch instead of the floor.
Evan, did you put it out on Discord that this is live, by the way?
slick. I think it would have. Yeah.
No, it didn't. All right, let me do that.
I know there's a couple people who have mentioned they were upset that we never tell them when we're actually
Oh.
live.
I'll share it. How's the RAM overclocking going? Super curious.
Still heat issues that are being worked on right now. Although there are 6400 megahertz systems in the wild, we've seen some Time Spy scores out there from it, but it's still not beating the top score, which is thanks to Prima.
Which is what, 48? No, did he get it up to 5200 megahertz memory? Was it the?
I think his might have been running 5400,
Was it?
but he was running with Crucial or Micron sticks, I'm pretty sure it was. Yeah. We do have the Prometheus XVI G2 with us here today,
Oh,
and I don't think anybody wants to see it, so we'll just keep it to ourselves. But thanks. Have a good day, guys.
no, you. No. This laptop, Evan and I have been just drooling over for weeks. And is that incorrect, Evan? I mean, that's. Yeah.
No, this laptop is, once it's official and out for you guys to get, I'm buying it the first day.
Yep.
100%. Not even, like, no doubt in my mind. I walked in the first time I saw that, the first sample that came in, and I already knew I was going to get it.
So it's an i9-13900HX that we will start off at 4060, because I just wanted to have an entry point to try and bring our costs down and give more of an option. We'll have 4060, 4070. It will be a membrane keyboard, and it will be...
Are you going 4080, 4090 on that?
4080 and 4090
So all the
as
way
well.
up.
Yep. And so this is it.
Oh, yeah. Change cameras, Evan.
Oh, sorry, nobody saw it. I'm going to hide
No.
it again. There she be.
What a beauty.
Oh, yeah. Black and
Absolute
white.
I love the
beauty.
black and white accents. And it has a light bar right
On the
here
back, yeah.
and a light bar right along here.
Now, the light bar on the front, usually it looks not good, but because it has a bit of a dip to it, so when it is on the ground or on a table, I guess I should say,
Casts it
the glow looks so nice. It looks so clean. I love this thing.
I will definitely say this is the first time that we've had the right proper lighting for the LED light bars, where typically it's not nearly as bright, and this is far brighter. And actually, I wish I should have turned it this way. It's not going to be too late, but it looks like Kit when it starts from Knight Rider.
Yeah,
it's also going in the back, but yeah.
That looks amazing.
What did that say? Bob and Evans what?
What do we call it? We called it something. This was my idea.
It's Bob Evans' adopted child.
We love this laptop so much.
I didn't even see that. That was the first time I've noticed that. Just to note, this cooling on this system will be very similar to the MECH-17 GP.
Yeah.
And the difference is it will have a 4-zone NKRO keyboard, and I'm trying to think what else there would be.
Yeah, membrane keyboard, which is nice.
Okay, sorry, I remembered a couple of things.
Yeah.
62 watt-hour battery instead of a 99.9 watt-hour. I will say this system was technically capable of a 99.9, and it still is. But this is a bloody market. I want to come out with something that's aggressive in price. So this is going to be $200 lower than our MECH-17 GP. And again, starting at $1499 with the 4060 and the i9-13900HX. That means that the next system would be the 4070 at $1799, and that's all talking as a bare bone solution. But that's the best we can do in this, especially because it's an awesome system. And there's one thing I've been holding off on everyone, including the team, and I'm not going to mention it to anyone until it actually comes, because I think it's really cool, just a nice finishing touch to it. But that we will share at a later point in time.
Okay, still holding out on us.
Oh
Nice.
yeah, I'm
That's
absolutely
fun.
holding out.
That's fun.
And that's why I like it, because they don't even know.
Yeah.
And once you see it, you guys are gonna be like, oh my gosh, you thought you liked this system. Now I was like, oh, this is perfect.
Now, is anything going to change with the final build? Like the color scheme we're going with?
Color scheme, absolutely.
The
We're
lid
going with
is
white
metal.
and black.
The lid is aluminum. It's very
Correct.
nice.
Yep.
The display.
The display is a 500 nit display as
Yeah.
well. 16-inch 240.
Yep.
16 by 10, and it's a 500 nit, very bright. It will not have G-Sync. That was a discussion that we had as to whether or not it will have it back and forth.
Right.
We decided not to go for that because, again, that's more added cost. So we're trying to reduce our costs as best we can. And where we did it for this so far was the membrane keyboard, the 62 watt-hour battery, and the
G-Sync.
G-Sync. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just going to read off some of the questions that people have for that laptop.
Sure.
So, blah, blah, blah. Will you offer the 99 watt-hour as an option?
You could buy that 99 watt-hour battery separately and install it yourself, and it will have zero issues. So I don't intend to offer it as an upgrade option from the 62 watt-hour, because that's kind of the intention of why our MECH-16 GP and MECH-17 GP2 are there. That's supposed to be our flagship systems. They cost a fortune to make. So does this system, less what we're trying to take away from it in a way. So if you really specifically need that 99.8 watt-hour battery, then you can purchase the part. And I honestly wouldn't be surprised if we would give you a credit of some sort for the 62 watt-hour, because we can still use those parts too.
So that laptop is 16, right? The white one? Okay.
And correct, yeah.
And then, so those were the questions for that laptop. And then we have other just normal questions. So Werner asks, I watched Gizmo Slip Tech last night where he benched an XMG Neo 17. His CPU temps were getting spicy up to 94 Celsius. Does the LPP help with the CPU at all?
The LPP does help with the CPU, and I think something else to know. I don't know. I know XMG is using Loadline as their undervolting type of solution because they weren't able to get it correctly. PrimaMod, again, thanks to them, we have gotten it to the point where our systems are running at a negative 0.125 undervolt and can continue to do that. And that undervolt, again, temperatures are going to be reduced by undervolting your system. This, like you saw in the stream earlier, we were running at what, 0.215 was the offset that we were doing for that. never guaranteed that each system's going to do that because the processor's going to change. But it is definitely going to help reduce heat. And yes, the LPP G2 will for sure help reduce heat. Although I thought XMG on the bench with Gizmo Slip Tech was actually on LPP as well. No?
It may have been.
I didn't get a chance to watch the video.
Yeah,
I
I'm only
watched a
like
little
20
bit of
minutes into it. I have to chip away. It was over 4 hours long.
All right, so next is Bombaroo asks, what's the main difference between a mech and the Prometheus?
This Prometheus and the MECH-17?
I guess they just said mech and Prometheus.
I mean, Prometheus has always been an intended just gaming system where it's like the mech is our. I mean, it's actually tough to say because technically I would have liked to have carried this. This could have had a mechanical keyboard as well, but I keep getting the request of can we have the membrane? Can we have a membrane solution? So I thought this is a great opportunity to bring this in to our portfolio and then actually have this solution as such. Yeah, I mean, aside from the thermals between these two systems are going to be near on par with it. Aside from those 3 other changes, that's really pretty much the difference. The screen also on this, I will say, you guys have actually really enjoyed the display. Being the 500 nits is another improvement that this system has over our GP2. GP, or MECH-17 GP is about 350 nits, and our MECH-17 GP2 is 380.
Paul asks, are you guys actually in the PA, Delaware area, or is it just the business address?
We have PO boxes in each location, and if you need us, we're in like Peru or something. But no. Newtown, Pennsylvania, that's where I grew up. That's where we are. And our service center is in Delaware. That's where the company started, and that's still there, and we've got some great guys down there who are dedicated to service. And so this is our first year. I mentioned on Discord, this is our first year where we have become an authorized service center where we're no longer sending our systems out. And this is for 13th gen moving forward. It's a very exciting opportunity for us because we know how our quality of work is. And also to be able to have this in-house doesn't require any downtime that we used to have where we would send out the systems and then it would be out there and we were waiting for the service center. There was a service center in the United States. There was also a service center in China, and so we called it our extended service center depending on where it was going. But I'm just very excited to say that we're now going to have this in-house, and that is in Delaware, and that address actually is on our website for the service center. And if you're looking to come up in Newtown, PA, you might hear even construction noises right now, but we're really doing some cool stuff to this building here.
Oh yeah.
And once it's done, anyone's welcome to come. It will be really cool to meet with you guys and just to show everyone the work the progress in this facility. It's going to be amazing.
This year is going to be outstanding.
Yeah.
It's funny. It's funny you say for someone to come in because Paul just said, "Love it, Bucks County native. Happy to hear you are so close and local."
Yeah,
cool.
There we go.
Nice.
What part of Bucks County did he say?
No, he just said Bucks County native.
Okay.
So we have a couple more questions. So Ignatius asks, as someone who despises screen tearing, do you think I would miss having G-Sync?
That was part of our discussion, and that's why we decided not to go with G-Sync. And Bob, I'll let you step in on that one.
Yeah, so I would say about 4 or 5 years ago when graphics performance was nowhere near up to par what it is now, and you're playing around that 45 to 75 hertz range, screen tearing was obnoxious. But most titles now are whether it's optimization or just overall horsepower from the machine, screen tearing is not quite the nuisance that it used to be. Most of the time I run without G-Sync anyway. Of course, I've been doing a lot of benching lately. But for me, most of my titles, I'm getting 100 plus FPS on. The response time of the screen is excellent. I do not have an issue with screen tearing like I used to, which was very obnoxious. So slower response time screens, less performance. The combination of those two things seem to really mitigate that quite a bit. And as a matter of fact, you did call me. You were like, what are your thoughts on this really? And that's how I feel about it. And I know a couple other big YouTubers out there have stated the same. As a matter of fact, I think Dave was one who even commented on that. What are you gawking over there? What do you got going on?
Just having some fun.
Oh, okay.
I want to find the one that looks like kit from Knight Rider.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah, I love this.
That's fun. Video doesn't do this justice. This is a great looking laptop.
Yeah.
It's so nice.
And going back to that G-Sync real quick, though, when Bob said, he's like, yeah, we don't really need it so much anymore, I was just like a little bit like, because I fought for so long to have G-Sync added to our systems. And then now we finally have it, and you're just like, well, we don't entirely need it because our hardware is well beyond of pushing where it needs to be anyway. And I was just like, that's a bummer.
I'll put up a community tab and see what you guys think. And be honest, if you haven't experienced G-Sync and then you click yes, I want to make sure, like, have you experienced it? Have you not? Those that have done both, what are your thoughts on it? Evan, we've had this discussion internally even this week, and you could take it or leave it when it comes to...
I'm not going to lie. I've never used it in my life, so I've never felt like I needed it or anything. And even when I started using the laptops here and it had the G-Sync option, I never saw a difference, so...
Mr. Kindred joining the show. Welcome.
Good afternoon. Are you sitting?
Oh, is that mic live?
I can make it live now.
Yeah. Is Farmer gone?
Yes.
Okay.
Here, let me just say a question while I set that up. So, next we have, Paul, funny enough, is in Marsville and graduated from Bucks County Technical High School. And then he says, okay, I should stop doxing myself now. Smart. We're not going to dox him, so that's all we're going to need to know.
Is that what that means?
Yes.
I gotta catch up on all this.
So,
That's where, so I grew up right here in Newtown. John is also, I would consider, somewhat of a native to Newtown, but
30 years.
30 years, jeez. I actually didn't realize it's
Your
been
mic
that
isn't
long.
on, by the way, yet. I haven't done that. So you can leave it there. I just have to.
So nobody can hear John,
I'm
I
going to
guess.
read a question. But, so Werner wants to know how far we are with the 6400 megahertz.
Yeah, we addressed that a little bit earlier. There's some heat issues that's still being worked on right now. It's still in progress. I think, I don't know where it's going to come at this point, because it's, if you actually notice, I actually changed the website to say overclocked memory, because 6400 megahertz is in the wild, but I don't know how it's going to end up. I don't know if it's, if people are benching, if it's going to get too hot, if it's going to, technically what it's designed to do, sorry if I'm speaking too quickly, at 6400 megahertz, it should actually clock itself down if it's not at the right temperatures and it needs to adjust. So we'll see how it goes. I've been anxious to really try this more of ourselves instead of, we've actually even, so there's one memory vendor who was technically, the whole project was involved with this one memory vendor. I took our system and sent it to another memory supplier who builds for Crucial and Micron, and had to just see what else we could do, just to find out, they're pulling in the same SK Hynix die and testing it, and so I don't have any updates aside from what we have currently, but we'll see how it ends up.
All right, John, can you talk in the mic?
I sure can.
Okay, it's on. All right, cool. All right, so let me read off another question.
Anybody who does not know, John Kindred, who just joined the room, is our COO, and I've known him for more than 20 years. And he was saying he's been in Newtown for 30 years, which he originally grew up in Hotlanta.
There we
Hi.
go. All right.
Evan told me to say hi.
Well, I was just saying wave at least. But all right. So next we have blah 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 blah.
Oh, can we do one thing, Evan? Can we do the shotgun mic on the volume between these two systems on Max Fan?
Oh yeah, we'll see how that sounds.
I would love to do that.
Yeah, because that thing's still at Max Fan.
I know. I just realized this system has been on Max Fan this whole time, and you don't even realize. At one point, I had to look down at it earlier.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna leave it there.
All right. So this is Max Fan from this, and yes, it's connected. Oh, sorry.
They can hear you, but they're not gonna hear the fans yet.
Okay.
This is slick.
Yeah, whoever suggested that shotgun mic, thanks. That was another $500 hit to this room.
You should hear the other things it picks up really well.
What's that supposed to mean? Sean's coming in here and then.
Do not.
Yeah.
So, alright,
Yeah.
shush, everybody shush, because now it's hooked up. So now,
Everyone be loud.
hold on. Alright.
Oh, do you want me to press this mute button?
I already muted you guys.
Oh.
So.
It's not even on.
Huh?
It's not even on for us. We're good.
No, I know. It is in the top section.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, so. Who's that one now?
All right. So this is the max fans of the. Can they hear me?
Hold on. Yeah.
Alright.
You hear the fans more than you hear you.
Okay.
So you can still kind of hear what you're saying.
This is the max fans of the MECH-17 GP2. It's connected to the LPP, but that doesn't make a difference because no matter what, we're still just instructing the fans to be on their maximum. And Bob is pulling up probably about 50 to 52 dB. 50 to 52 decibels, and obviously once I speak
I mean, if you wanted to speak, you can do it over there.
No.
Or no, you don't have to go down there. You can speak like that.
We're okay. All right, now let's give Bob's. Oh boy.
Alright. So now you can keep that there.
Not even ready yet,
Just the whiteboard.
67, 68 decibels, the same distance.
You speaking the mic is muted. They want me to show the best we need. So hold on. Hold it up. And we'll turn it on. There we go.
Did you mind them?
Yeah, what are yours now?
Good?
This is still going.
Yeah,
One
it's-
fan
it's
shut
still-
off, now the other one will go.
We'll wait until yours is off, Bob. Good?
It's still ripping away a little bit.
Takes a while.
It sure does.
I would love for someone to join the stream right now, and all they're doing is looking at Bob's little thing.
Yeah.
Like, what is this?
All right, now we'll max fans.
All right, max stands for us. This is what an MSI sounds like. Did it pump? Sure did.
You think that'll work?
All right.
Yeah, that's good. All night long said, yo dog, I heard you like traveling, so we put an airplane inside your MSI laptop so you can fly while you game. Nice.
Let us know we're back live.
All right, you guys are unmuted now.
Shotguns off.
Yep.
Cool. All right, so MSI is substantially louder, maybe a little bit more than twice as loud. It does have 4 fans, and it's an air-cooled machine. I mean, I've been saying this for years.
I think the cameras need to be fixed.
Put on a headset, and you're good to go. We got a little camera error here. Oh, are we zoomed in?
Yeah,
We are zoomed in.
Oh, sorry. I have too many things to fix. All right.
Thank you, Evan.
Awesome. The MECH fans are definitely more pleasing. I agree. The MECH-17 is a little pitchier, but it is a far cry from what the GT77 Titan was doing. So just hearing this all day, like I almost have a little bit of a ringing in my ear, so it's got a weird tone to it. Like I've said before in other streams, the difference between the whoosh sound and the wish sound. This is very wishy.
Yeah. I personally don't understand the GT77, like the purpose of its price. You need me to move over?
Sorry,
How can I
sorry,
move
man.
over?
Yeah, I was hogging the mic.
That's better.
I do not understand the purpose of the GT77. That gigantic trunk, I feel like there's nothing appealing about this system, and this is just my personal opinion. So I'm saying how I feel about it. But.
I thought there's some things I like about it, but I thought the Titan series was better when it was considered a muscle book, when it had like a socketed chip,
Oh yeah.
things like that, just when it was a chunkier beast, because then it had the purpose and everything about it sort of made sense. And now that it's, soldered parts and sort of competing against everything else, it just has a weird look and feel to it. It's very large.
Excuse me.
It's almost like it's a little bit of an identity crisis.
Let's go. Check that out. I'm sorry. I had to try and run it. Oh, I guess it is an LPP, isn't it? It's still LPP G2. No max fans. What would I get? 36 something.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man. That's what I love about. I don't think Max fans.
If you had that shotgun mic going right now, you would not be picking up much.
I didn't know you
much
were
at
running.
all.
I had no
just
idea you were
had to
running.
try it. Yeah.
Okay.
The fans to the laptop didn't even come on. And then
And this is the kind of stuff that I really want to focus on over the next couple of weeks for the stream. It's just the laptop life kind of stuff. Just how nice it is to use and
Let's go, Zach.
what its purpose is. Is he got his music going?
Yeah.
Nice. I thought he was heading out around 3.
Yeah.
So we have a question, and it says, so Ignatius asks, how would you rate the user experience of your MECH-17 GP2 for someone new to any kind of overclocking / undervolting / BIOS stuff?
All right.
I think out of the box, I mean, you don't have to, if that's what you want to do, I mean, obviously this is a perfect system for that. But out of the box, you don't have to do that. I mean, you can enjoy this system well beyond, like this is running, 30 to 31, I think, if you really just max out the sliders in the control center. Our control center gives way more options than any control center I've seen out there. And it also makes it much more simpler to access.
It's very responsive too, which is
Yeah.
really nice. From max fans to wattage sliders, all in real time, no rebooting, no menu hunting, which is really difficult, but sort of fun for me lately using these new laptops, seeing how many things I have to click on to adjust stuff. Everything is right there. When it comes to the safety of the device, like are you going to brick anything? I will say that as a new overclocker, if you push some settings too far, the way that it does the memory training and it sort of, the system sort of makes sure that it's kind of safe to boot into the operating system. That doesn't mean you're not going to have WHEA correcting errors and things like that. But 2 generations ago, if you would have pushed this willy-nilly, you would have bricked the laptop and you would have had to send it in and we'd have to reflash the BIOS with the program tool. And now, I don't want to say it's invincible, but we haven't broke one yet. And I think the safety measures put in place to somebody that's asking what is it like as a new overclocker should not be slept on. That's a very important feature that these do have, and I think it's awesome.
Yeah, and since you're saying that, Bob, I think it's also important to note that the way that Prima built this mod, the BIOS, it actually has a lot of safety mechanisms in place that it actually, I think there was 5 different checks, security checks that basically go through the system every time you start the system. So if you are just using this laptop to just use it as a daily user, you could press Control B when you start the power on the system and hold that down as you do so. And sorry, I'm benching again. I just had to try it.
Nice.
So 36, 563,
Wow.
no fans
Silent.
on the laptop whatsoever.
Yeah, I didn't even know you ran.
Yeah, I know. I love it.
I was watching it. It was funny.
What was I saying?
Oh, the safety measures.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Control B.
So as the system starts, there are 5 safety measures. Prima, correct me if I'm wrong, please, if you're watching, that are taking place to make sure that the system's not going to brick or that there's an improper setting. And so it does take a while to post. It does take a while to load. And there is even one customer who reached out and said it's almost as if I'm running a hard drive on this. This is the overclocking mechanism that is there to protect the system. I've actually seen plenty of noted things about bricks on the GT77 Titan. And I would personally rather take a system that could potentially, it's there as a safety precaution as compared to you might end up with a service repair because of that. And so if you hold that Control B, you power the system on, it's going to take the overclocking features off and you will have a fast boot solution again. To reenact it, just go back into the BIOS, press F2, you get into the BIOS, you go into the overclocking section, it's called tuning, and then at the top of it is the overclocking settings, I believe.
Yep.
And then you would just
Enable it
and save and exit, and then you are back to your post is going to take a while to turn back on, but
That
aside
initial
from that,
one.
yes.
After that, you should be 20-second boots.
It's still, I think even on a slow power up though, it does take a lot
Does it a
longer,
little
but
bit?
it's, I mean, like during a restart or anything like that, it's a lot faster.
And then you don't have to do the Control B. You can also manually go in there and disable the overclock as well.
100%. Yep. Sorry, that's just a quick little shortcut for you if you wanted to do it that way. But you could,
It's not hidden.
yeah. So you could just go right back into the BIOS and just
Yep.
disable it. And if that's what fast booting is more your priority. But if it comes time to benchmarking or if it comes time to pushing your system closer to the edge of what it can do, then you would want to have that overclocking enabled, and that's what that's there for.
Yeah, Ignatius, don't worry, I don't overclock either, so you're not the only one. So next question, or not question, but All Night Long says, Gizmo made an interesting point about the Neo 17 last night, that the empty internal space could be used for extra M.2 slots if Tongfang didn't just reuse the 16 board.
Sorry?
Okay. Gizmo made an interesting point about the Neo 17 last night, about the empty internal space that could be used for extra M.2 slots if Tongfang didn't just reuse the 16 board.
The entire point of what Tongfang does is they work off of an ecosystem of parts. It helps reduce your own costs. It helps reduce system costs. If you have a board that can interchange between the MECH-16 and the MECH-17, which it does, that really helps because then you're not carrying a SKU for the MECH-16, you're not carrying a SKU for the MECH-17. So it really is actually a great feature. And yes, there's a lot of internal real estate. In such case, I've continued to suggest to R&D, hey, how about a subwoofer there? Or how about something that would make sense to fill those spots? If you're going to use that small motherboard, then please do that. So, I mean, I think that board was actually small enough to actually work into more of a 14-inch design. And I have been trying to entertain a 14-inch design for quite some time, but our brand is so focused on having more of a high-end, high performance that I'm truthfully gun shy of going with something that might come out with the efficiency of the 4060 running at like 65 to 75 watts is actually really impressive. Mm-hmm. But I also don't want to be that company that comes out with the system that says, hey, you're trying to sell me a 4060, but I'm not getting my full 4060 performance. So that's why we have this Prometheus XVI G2, but we would also have another system that would be more business oriented, and that's what the plan would be if we had a 40. I loved it because it's a 14-inch 99.8 watt-hour battery. And how much would you love to see that inside of a system? How much more would you love to see it with an AMD CPU? Yeah, I agree. I actually would love to see that, and I've continued to ask for that. But supply, and there's been plenty of times where we tried to do stuff with AMD, and some of the supply didn't work out. And I think that's, at this point, why we have an Intel solution kind of strictly for a lot of these models. The 7945HX was under discussion for quite a while. I would love to have it. I would love to at least see how it does. I haven't even gotten to see one myself. But also the BIOS on that is locked down quite a bit more than than Intel ever is.
Yeah.
So, and XTU is XTU has grown on me. I know before I didn't really think too much of it, but now I actually really like that because it's a lot easier for me to understand what I'm toggling and switching and messing with. And then Prima had mentioned, once you're actually done with those settings and you've verified that they're stable, then you can set it into your BIOS. And then if you do such, then your system will run that way exactly. But it all really, every system should be fine-tuned individually.
Yeah, Silicon Lottery.
Yep.
So Werner asks, what's the rundown on What's the rundown on your MECH-17, like UV-wise, to get 36K on Cinebench?
Well, one, we brought our clocks down. So we were running at 4.9 and 3.9, I think I said, for 4.9 for the P cores and 3.9 for the E cores.
But all core across that breed of core.
I believe so, yeah. And I'm trying to think what else there was. There are actually plenty of other settings involved to it, but yes, the undervolt was at -215.
Yep.
And that's actually what I'm running right now. As you guys are sitting here, I'm just running a couple benches here and there to see what I can get. That one was 36,592. Yeah.
Okay, and then All Night Long just said the parts efficiency totally makes sense. Thanks, Will. And then he said, I just wanted to say how rad it is that you work with individual buyers on your own time. Truly customer-focused company.
I appreciate that. Yeah, there was username Dr. Gaius that I'm communicating with. He's over in like Okinawa, and so last night on one of the posts I had said something about what was it? We were at one point in time we talked about coming out with a liquid pee-pee, and we were talking about dyeing our yellow distilled water and sending it out. Obviously, that probably wouldn't work inside of the systems, but I actually ordered something special for him last night that I'm going to actually use because he wanted to upgrade to the MECH-17, so we're in the process of doing so because we're trying to help him out. And so that's going to happen next week, and that'll be fun.
That's funny. Yeah. You had been talking about doing something like that for a year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's no more questions right now, so you guys do whatever you want.
Well, I think what I will do is I will undervolt this system a little bit further beyond its design. No, I'm just joking.
Do it.
Do we want to run Time Spy and show that off, or?
Sure. But again, just to note, we have to adjust some settings on this. So, like, for instance,
Sorry, the fans just kicked on. Cracks me up. Sorry.
So on Time Spy, you would want to set your system to DGPU. You wouldn't want to actually run off of Optimus. But for 3D Mark, you'd want to have that on Optimus or the iGPU.
For the Cinebench?
For the Cinebench
Yeah.
R23. Did I say something different?
Yeah, it's all right.
What did I say?
3D Mark.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
All Night Long asked GPU benches. That's all he said.
GPU benches.
Such as 3D Mark Time Spy?
Maybe. ASR James says airjet cooling / F roar systems. CXI memory. Your thoughts?
I don't know what that was. Sorry, I'd have to read it. I think I don't know what you just said exactly.
And then Werner says, why did last year's MECH with water cooling on CPU and GPU change to only GPU on this year's model? My thinking practically is that it drains easier.
That actually had to do with the layout of the board. The structure on the memory was repositioned on this motherboard. So where it is currently, it actually was. It wasn't there. Everything about the way the layout of the CPU and the GPU go, and this change between the 13900HX between the 12900H. My request has continued to be, hey, I would love to see this going over both the CPU and the GPU, especially for any future models, because it does provide improved cooling for the CPU. But if you pull that loop over there, I do believe that it would be better. But Bob, you came back and said the sustained wattage, or there was something that you had said at one point.
So with the 12th gen, the sustain wattage would be about 115 watts at max load with the 12900H on the LPP, and on the 13th gen it's about 140. So, and that's with a significant core increase as well, which really shows just how much more like efficient and powerful 13th gen is, that it can actually do that without having the liquid cooling directly over the die of the CPU. Furthermore, I mean, 175 watts in these GPUs, having that is over that GPU. If you can keep one part cool, it does help the other. But to Will's point, having that over the die directly sure as heck wouldn't hurt.
So All Night Long followed up with DGPU only in BIOS versus Advanced Optimus DGPU only mode still has a difference.
This down so I can hear him. I can't even hear Evan because this is so loud. I'm sorry, Evan. I changed it.
Do you want me to read it again?
Yeah.
Okay, so he followed up. He says DGPU only in BIOS versus Advanced Optimus DGPU only mode still has a difference.
I don't know if it does.
It probably won't on the MECH because of DDS, of Advanced Optimus. It might on this, though. I think this is just traditional Optimus, though.
Well, that
is
is,
not?
yeah, that system doesn't have Advanced Optimus for sure, so you actually have to restart every time you want to change that to
Yeah.
DGPU.
And you don't have access to the MUX switch in the BIOS, which is kind of a bummer. You have to do it with software. A lot of laptops are doing that now. I don't know. I don't like it. But
Okay, GQ Nerd says, what RAM kit and frequency are you running on the MECH, and any updates on the 6400 overclock?
Yeah, 6400 megahertz overclock has been mentioned a couple times. What was the other question? Sorry.
what memory are we running in there?
Oh, this is a 4800 megahertz Samsung.
Yep.
No binning, no changes to the timings of the latency.
Yeah.
Okay, and D-Racer asks, any chances you guys will build and sell a system similar to the minus Forum NUCX17, but with the LPP? This would be great. Oh yeah, the NUC, sorry. I just read them out by letters. But with the LPP, this would be great for a small desktop replacement.
No, unfortunately, everything for us has been laptop based, and especially with our ODM, they do not have. I've suggested plenty of times.
Is that a laptop? The NUC X15 is the Mag 15.
You could be right, but the NUC's been dropped.
Right. So can you clarify, is that X17 a laptop? Because if so, I want to check that out.
It's a laptop based. What do you know? What specs it has? Because I do know that everything NUC has basically been discontinued that I'm aware of. The only NUC that we had brought in as a sample was one that had that CPU that swapped right out.
Mm-hmm.
But that was a 14-inch that wasn't cutting it for us.
Ooh, no. Not even close.
Paul asks, is it worth pushing the CPU ratio higher? Besides the undervolts, what else can you tweak?
Is it worth pushing the CPU higher?
Yeah. He goes, is it worth pushing the CPU ratio higher? Besides the undervolts, what else can you tweak?
Is it worth pushing it higher for benchmarks? No. Is it worth pushing it higher for different scenarios like multitasking or using it for the way you're running your system? I think that depends on your use case. But for benchmarks, no, it does not. I do not think it's really going to help unless you have further additional cooling to the CPU to make sense of increasing your P cores and your E cores, unless you can somehow really undervolt it way beyond what our CPUs are typically able to do. But I wouldn't really recommend that either.
Are we going to ever have a system with a 13980 in it?
No, I don't think you need to. I mean, look at our 13900HX versus the 13980. We're ready to take it on.
Yep.
There's no reason for the difference. It's just a number in this case. It's if you look at the performance figures between our CPU and another, we're beating it, and it does. I mean, like on this little sticker here, it says up to 5.6 gigahertz on 2 P cores and up to 5.2 on all P cores. It's not really running that. The system can't. That trunk, even with it, it's not doing it. And no, I can't say that there's gonna any purpose to bring in a 980HX when our 900HX already defeats it, and it's doing very well at that.
Werner asks, concerning the magnetic coupling connecting to the laptop, when disconnected, does the water loop inside the laptop isolate like a one-way valve?
No, does it work like a one-way valve?
Yeah.
No, the way, so like if you, can you, Yeah, I think they can see it. Here, I got it. Right? So you just disconnect this here. There's a little bit of liquid that came out. So what I'm going to do is, I don't know if you can see any of the liquid, but there's a little bit that came out there. And if you want, let me grab the tool. So this is a self-sealing design. So when I take this here, and I'm going to put this in, there's
Very little, if anything.
I do not even see a drop coming out
No.
of this.
Same with the how-to video I put out. I mean, it was a couple of drops. It was nothing compared to the first gen.
Yeah.
That might be the way the loop is designed too. Instead of it kind of like a race car track.
This,
squiggling
I mean,
around.
seriously, this design is so much better than the G1 in my opinion. With just, I don't know. Here, I'll bring it up so you can see it. Hopefully. I mean, I'm in. It is such a simple. If you're ready to get going, you just take this out like that. You take this out, and you're on the go.
Yep.
GQ, no, we have not run 3D Mark yet. We are going to very soon, though. Also, All Night Long said he has a general market question. See if you guys know the answer to this. But he goes, on a yearly basis, are more gaming laptops sold than gaming desktops at this point?
Well, for us, we only sell laptops, so I don't have the
We don't have the
info on
data
that
for
one.
that.
We actually, no, actually, that's not even true. I'm sorry. We did sell a ton of HP desktops in the past where, when the 4080, 4090s were tough to get, we had...
Oh, 3080, 3090.
Oh, it's 3080,
Right, yeah.
You're right. Yeah, sorry. We actually have some 4090 45Ls on hand that we haven't even posted online, but that's a behemoth of a
They're
chassis.
not online yet. No kidding.
No, they're not online.
Wow.
But yeah, so we had 3080 and 3090s that, when this company started, it was working with HP, and it was to the point that I was buying so many systems that they said, hey, if you want to continue to do what you're doing, you need to become an authorized reseller. So that's what I did. Made an official company, became an authorized reseller, and we still have a tight relationship with HP. But all that to say, I'm not impressed with their laptops for this year on their Omen line. The 45L, I think that's a nice case, but it's very, very large. But like I said, we even have some of those on hand that we haven't listed just yet. But the desktops we did sell quite well, especially during that, the phase of everyone wanting a 3090 whenever you could.
Oh, yeah.
During COVID and whatnot.
So there's a question. C. Davis goes, I've only ever played with throttle stop and afterburner for undervolt stuff. Is there a good video for BIOS tuning I should check out? Last time I messed with overclocking the BIOS was in 8086.
8086. Trying to think. I don't know of any specific videos that I'd recommend, but I would say that, I mean, for me, I'm using XTU for everything that I'm doing right now. That's up to you. I know a lot of people do use throttle stop, and I'm not too sure what to recommend on that one. Sorry.
I used to have videos about that, but I would say they've long expired for 13th gen, even 12th gen. I would say the stuff that I had was good all the way up until maybe 10th gen, 11th gen. The undervoltage got really tight, and 12th was just something different altogether, and this is a whole new beast. So I don't know if anybody's got a whole lot of content on that for laptops or not. And you wouldn't really be able to apply much from a desktop-based, overclocking, because things are a lot more locked down on a laptop.
So ASR James has an off-topic question. With the inflation in GPU sales not being as good as they usually are we okay? Like, are we doing okay? He wants to know. Are we going to be fine for the long run?
Help me. Yeah, we're doing okay. We would have been doing much better if we were able to sell our systems at the price that we had initially launched them at. But, it's again, like I said, it's a tough market, so we have to fight for this, and we're always here to fight for that. I'm ready to work around the clock like I try to try and get things done as best we can. Here.
Right, and then Ignatius asks, any plans for another thick laptop?
I don't think it's necessary. We actually brought in an X370, which would have technically been X370s by Clevo. That would have technically used to have been in a thick chassis where they had the removable desktop chip. And I love the idea of a CPU that you can pop out and swap in. At the same time, while I say that, I don't think that it's as advantageous as many seem to think, because if your chipset's stuck, then what do you get? Maybe one generation upgrade, and then you have to upgrade anyway. So it's not that great, aside from the fact that it uses these beefy thermals that you can really amp up your performance. And that's the type of performance and the type of wattage and the type of drive that I would love to see in our systems. But at the same time, this 13900HX, 13980HX is really basically a 13900K. But yeah, no, I don't. So anyway, that X370 was thinner. And
It's a lot thinner.
it's a lot thinner, but it also was very limited out of the box as to what it could do. And Prima has the BIOS, and we're going to take a look at it. But I don't really think there's going to be anything impressive to come of it.
All right, so before I ask any other questions, let's get 3D Mark going.
I'm going to need a minute, Evan. So.
That's fine.
Yeah.
All night long also asked if we're working on any new accessories at all.
No, I don't think we have anything accessory-wise as of right now that I can think of, aside from maybe a particular LPP or liquid PP bottle.
Nice.
I mentioned to actually it might have been all night. Somebody I had mentioned it to on Discord on a DM. Like I spent a lot of time on all of our accessories. Like everything about our accessories were very, like down to the switch, down to the key switch of our most recent mouse. Everything about that I wanted to make sure it was as best can be. And there's things like the Covert cans, our headphones, our Bluetooth headphones have 1,000 milliamp battery as compared to 500 that's typically in Bluetooth. And our vendor thought I was being ridiculous. I was like, it doesn't add that much weight and it's not that much more. So give us that extra battery life. Why not? I'd rather have that. But those are things that most people don't even notice about our accessories. What am I doing, 3D Mark?
Do you 3D Mark up?
I do. I just ran it during.
But yours is running
6 minutes
IGP.
ago.
Yours is because you'd have to switch to DGPU to run that properly, right? You can show your score, but it's not going to be as good.
So this is what I just ran.
So that's the MSI one.
All right. So this is going to be with super performance switch on, no overclock on anything. I'm switching it to the NVIDIA GPU only, and we're running Time Spy, correct?
Yep.
Love that Advanced Optimus too, man. You were just able to easily switch that right there. It's cool.
They want to know what the red warning triangle is. Isn't that like an NVIDIA driver?
No, we're not online, so it won't
Oh.
validate.
I see.
We're not connected to the internet. Yeah.
Neither of these systems are connected to the internet as of this moment.
Damn, Titan got a lot of stickers. True.
Yep. And then just for reference also, earlier on that, when I had showed that Prometheus, the XVI G2, that had stickers on it. Our systems will not have stickers. We ship them separately in the box, in a bag.
Damn, that's got a lot of stickers. That's funny.
Are we running?
Yeah.
I wonder if we should change yours, Bob, to...
All night long goes, the Prometheus needs the Stormtrooper logo on the lid.
Oh, I considered it.
Yes.
We actually have, it's an opportunity for that system to have an RGB customizable icon as well, instead of it typically used to use the illumination of the backlighting of the display. So this could be an opportunity for that, but the problem with that is we also distribute our products to other system integrators throughout the United States. So if we carry that, then that requires a large MOQ to begin with, but then on top of it, we wouldn't be able to sell the system to anyone else. So that's why we are working right now with M2 skins to potentially have a solution.
Oh, good, because Ignatius just said, any plans for D-brand skins for MECH-17 or any other brand for that matter?
Yeah, M2 skins currently has our MECH-16 GP and our MECH-17 GP2. So we'll see how that pans out.
You gotta see the email I sent you today. It's just like a couple hours ago.
At least for the next run, I guess, he says, change the Titan to DGPU and run them live side by side.
Yeah, you want to run that?
Sure.
Bob?
Well, don't do it yet. Just wait till...
Well, the Titan's not even running, but yeah.
Oh, I'm just going to wait till that's done so it's like...
Yeah, but I'll get it ready though. I gotta reboot it.
Oh, didn't know that.
I know.
Werner has a thing. He goes, I was thinking of an idea. If you buy 2 LPPs and adapting the braided hoses in series, you would have a double rad or two 120 millimeter fans to the cooling loop. Great idea or bad idea?
See, I've already asked if we could have a solution for future where it's, I would love to see an LPP over here and an LPP over here, and one is running right into the CPU and one is running right into the GPU. I think that would be awesome. I think it would actually look really clean, especially with the lighting and everything that the G2s have. But for me, the more cooling and the more opportunity for cooling, the better. I love it.
Especially if you could get the RGB like on this side and this side.
Mm-hmm. That's I mentioned it to Winston recently. I was like, it could be like almost like it's like they look like speakers, but instead they're just fun looking. Yeah.
I see what you mean.
The only difficulty in that case is how the AC adapter would work, because you have your pass through for that one, and then you have the other one would have to have its own dedicated connection.
Yeah, Ace just said, how many power bricks would you need for 2 LPPs simultaneously?
But it depends on what hardware you're running, but
Probably
22404.
the CPU score was substantially higher. I think it was around 15K on the MSI for the physics score. But the graphics score was around that, maybe a hair lower.
What was the score on the MSI? I don't remember.
It was lower.
Physics was like 15K, I think.
No, the
15 or
overall.
17. Overall, I don't know. I never looked at the overall.
Oh.
I'm always looking at the individual. But it's usually just an average. Wouldn't it be? No? Not quite. Are we ready?
Yeah. Should I run this again or no?
That amazes me that the audio on the mics do not pick up those fans.
I mean, it kind of does, but...
It's not going to run the demo, is it?
I'm going to turn that off.
I thought the demo was
Shut
off.
it off, yeah.
Do you want me to run this one too, so it's loud?
Sure.
As someone who would build custom hardline water cooling for my desktop builds, I'm on board for more laptop water cooling. All Night Long asks, would you use the current XTE values on the mech in an everyday use scenario?
No.
Nope.
I don't find any need to. That's just really just kind of, we're trying to push this. Evan, remember that they may not know what question you're asking if you're not on
I'm
your mic.
hoping that it's getting picked up
Okay.
from where I am.
Now, running settings like this, gaming, we'll just talk about gaming, for example. Really not that practical. Your goal should be maximizing GPU saturation, and a lot of times you can put your 12th and 13th gen CPU, PL1 and PL2 settings to about 35 watts, and that's enough grunt for most circumstances to fully maximize your graphics card in a gaming situation. There's a few titles where you may have to get up to 40 or 45 watts. You will not need the full-blown 60, 70, 80 at all. There will be some really odd circumstances where you might see a higher 1% low if you do something like that, or something such as Counter-Strike global offensive where it's just 1 or 2 cores anyway. But we're talking very cherry pick situations. So running these systems at the brink like you're doing under normal circumstances for gaming, not practical at all. For video editing, definitely not practical. Stability is king when it comes to video editing. I've edited thousands of videos, and having something corrupt or running WHEA errors could exit out of Premiere, and you may lose minutes or 15, 20, 30, 60 minutes of time, and it can be very frustrating. So stability is key in situations like that. Those are just to name 2. Gaming and editing, stability is king. Fun to beat the daylights out of these and see what they can do, and that's what we're doing.
Hi, Perry.
Perry.
Okay. So another question is, any chance? Oh wait, are we gonna do game benchmarks, like show any in-game FPS?
But we can. And also in the on the 24th, is it?
Yeah, week from Friday. This Friday.
Oh, well, next Friday, yeah. Our Delaware team will be joining us as well for the video, which will be fun. So they'll be coming up as well. For that.
We'll just casually. Yeah, that'll be fun.
Christopher is curious on how I guess both laptops or just both of our laptops run in 4K.
We don't have a 4K display. I mean, you could connect an external 4K display. Actually, just to dial back on that, that just reminded me, the Prometheus XVI G2 that is going to be offered, it did have a 4K 120 hertz 500 nit option. I didn't find it. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you guys really would like that type of option. I don't think that it's worth the extra cost. If it had maybe like a mini LED and like 1000 nit, I think that's where it makes it worthwhile to something more exciting. Especially if it had the native option to drop down to like a QHD or 1080 or something like that. But I just didn't think that it was worthwhile to that. But I have seen so many comments where it's, can I have the 4K? Can I have, it's a question that we see pretty often, I'd say.
Oh, how do we do?
So MSI got overall 21,382, and the MECH-17 overall got 22,359.
Nice.
Yeah, and this is with both systems running
On DGPU,
right.
Our system was easier to do it because we were able to just switch through Advanced Optimus. So that means you go into the NVIDIA control panel and you just switch it right there. You don't have to reboot. You're right there. You're running on the dedicated NVIDIA graphics card. With Bob, he had to go into the BIOS and switch that to...
I couldn't even go to the BIOS. There's no MUX control. I had to do it via software, but it still had the reboot.
Oh, okay. So Bob did it within the control center and then had to reboot the system to reach the DGPU.
The air behind these two systems, the MSI is a lot of air. The MECH,
you can hardly feel it when you put your hand up to it.
yeah.
We should get like a piece of paper and show
I
the
used to
difference
have that
or
little
something.
fingers
Yeah.
that I cut. Yeah,
There's tissues or toilet paper.
we can turn it. Just pivot it around.
Why is there toilet paper in here? John wasn't kidding
I
when he said it earlier. Remember, he said, "What did he say about other things you can do with that shotgun mic?"
That's funny. The toilet paper works really good for this. I should have used that years ago.
And then
It actually looks like ours is pushing air pretty well.
Yeah.
I don't feel it when I put my hand up there.
but it's not like it's consistent. Like it's not really pushing it like crazy. Whereas if I come here, it's pushing it out.
Yeah, you're not in the camera.
But, oh.
There you go.
Where's the LPP discharging from?
The LPP.
Your side.
This
Going
side.
that way.
See, barely pushing.
And again, this is max fan versus max fan, so it's not like one fan's on lower or anything.
Yeah.
Toilet paper coming in handy.
All right, I gotta turn this down.
Please. All right, I think we got a couple more minutes if anybody has any other questions.
All Night Long says, can those 500 nit panels be retrofit into the MECH-17 as a swap?
I saw that question earlier.
Can the what?
The Prometheus panel go into the MECH-17?
Yeah.
No. So the way, I don't have a 16 with me here, but if you take a look at this system, the chin on the MECH-16 is higher than the design of what the... Here, it's easier if I grab this one, actually. Sorry. We'll look at this system. So the chin on the MECH-16 is not as large as this, and the way that this particular panel works, it's using a bent PCB where it actually goes behind, and that's why this panel is actually thicker. But it actually reduces the chin by putting the PCB of the actual display here. So there's not an option to put that display onto the MECH-16 because it's thinner here, and it has a bigger bezel here as a result. So it's not possible. The displays are entirely different and by dimension, by form factor, everything. Thickness, all of it.
Yeah, the nits on that was crazy.
Yeah.
I used our Lux meter for it too.
Yeah. She's pretty.
Yeah.
I will say, when we first saw this system in, was it silver?
Oh yeah.
I was like, no, thank you.
It's the white.
And it's the white. I've been asking for white for so long, and we all saw it and we were instantly like, yes, this is it. Especially the two-tone, just this small little two-tone. I think it's just a nice touch. I like that. So this is called the D cover. This is the C cover, and then inside of the display where you look at the display, that would be called the B, and this is the A. The C and the D, I like that the C design here has that little black accent that goes down, so that it's not just a straight line.
But then the fins
It
are
really
black
helps.
in there. Looks good.
Yeah.
So Werner asked, on that last time spy on the Mech, was that on air?
That was on LPP.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then ASR James goes, 500 nits, are they HDR ready?
I remember reading the tech specs about it saying HDR 400, but Bob, I had you go in and check about the HDR, and it said not supported.
Yep.
So
it
I'm not
was
too
for
sure.
streaming, but not for maybe it was something else. But yeah,
Yeah.
for streaming it could do it, but something about the actual content.
Yeah, I remember as I was reviewing the panel specs, it had mentioned about HDR 400 support, but whether or not, I don't know how that works in terms of the Windows OS or how it is, but you guys have both said that you like the clarity of this better than you do.
Oh yeah. I mean, obviously our other ones are really nice, but even just when I was just messing around with that one, you could just tell it was just a little bit brighter. And then I like to make all the screens that I use
Vibrant
anywhere,
mode.
I make them vibrant as hell. So even when I do it on that one compared to others, it's like, wow, it really pops. So that's really cool.
Yeah.
Get the questions in now, because I don't think we're going for much longer.
And you can say bye-bye to this GT77 Titan. I don't care to ever see it again. This is the power brick, by the way. I don't know if, you can see it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a beast. It is a cheap cop-out from MSI on a $5,200 system to offer something as large as that is. It's just, that's my opinion. And
It's huge.
yeah.
I mean, that design's been around forever.
It is. And they're just using something that's just been out there, and I just can't believe that they didn't invest the money into that.
Yeah.
I don't even know. Is that a fingerprint reader? Or is that, what is that there? Yeah.
It's Windows
Okay.
Hello. And then it's got a shutter up here, which I thought was kind of cool.
Yeah, but the camera on it was 720p.
Yeah, it's awful.
It's nuts. I just ran the system on beast mode, 36322, in case anybody was wondering. I just wanted to keep running it. So this was beast mode, not a custom profile or anything like that. And
It's so funny that you're running those and
You don't
I
hear
have
anything.
No clue.
Barely. I mean, we do have an air nailer going.
I don't think anyone can hear that. Hopefully, the construction in
I mean,
the
if
background.
they do, it's very faint.
Very subtle.
Yeah.
it's also interesting that this.
Oh my god, because the metal table.
Yeah, I was wondering if it was. No, I was more so
Open the
wondering
valve.
if the valve would open, but it didn't.
Nope.
Yeah, the hammer is getting picked up.
Is it?
Is it?
Nice.
The hammer, yeah.
Well, like I said, at some point when this is completely done, you guys, anyone should please feel free to come visit us.
Is this a man cave? No, it's.
It feels like my man cave. In when I had a house in Delaware, I love this house. You can't see the back screen of this, but there's a big projector screen over here, and that was what I had in my basement in Delaware, and I miss it so much. And that's why the guys have been saying, "Hey, can we do this as a dual screen?" And I was like, I really just wanted to use this as like watch football games every so often or whatever.
Which you can do.
Not on two screens. You're gonna be looking to the right and the left. It's not.
You could have 2 games on at the same time.
I don't do that. I watch one game. I watch one game in large screen if I can. But any more brain busters?
Not that I see.
All right. Well, thank you everyone, and then we'll.
wait.
Oh,
Werner has a question. Will there be future plans, perhaps next year's model, to have displays with higher P3 gamut and brightness?
yes. Yep.
I'm big into the P3 too. Having that is nice.
I have this wish list. That's this ongoing wish list that's been there for years. But I would say we've tackled things. Liquid metal at a factory level, G-Sync, like I mentioned earlier. There's been plenty of wish list things that we've gotten to work from the factory. Which, again, like I had mentioned at one point in time, I was there with my wife doing stuff in the kitchen. I should mention that it wasn't because that's how we did our orders. We were overflowed with orders, so that's what I would bring home during the weekends to work on and do that liquid metal. Now that we have this at a factory level, it's such a time saver to do this stuff. But all that to say, I have a wish list for what I would love to see on a display. And for me personally, if I'm talking about perfect world, it's an OLED, low millisecond response time. Like we're talking about like 1 millisecond or less, and 1000 nit and 100% DCI P3. All those different things are features that I had said, but their reply to my request was too greedy. But so who knows where? I mean, actually, there's no such thing as an 18-inch OLED out there yet. And I had mentioned on a previous stream, I had asked one of our suppliers for something like that, and they wanted like $30 million. It was something insane because you have to change the masking, you have to do all this different stuff for OLED as compared to mini LED is simpler. But yeah, so I mean, yes, I have for sure requested that the 100% DCI P3 is more of a focus than 100% sRGB.
Okay, and then C. Davis Run asks, what's the chance of a little tuning tutorial for your new laptops? Maybe a YouTube video or during a live stream?
I think that's something we could probably do.
I can put it together.
Yeah, I think that's something we could definitely do. Sure.
Okay. All right. Well, everybody say your goodbyes. Wait,
Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Wait. Do it again now.
Have a good day.